Good morning, everybody. Yeah, it's morning here. I think from my usual routine of shooting in the evening after work. No, I'm shooting this morning. It's a holiday in Hong Kong, and most importantly, it's Art Basel. So the art week is here finally after so much struggle. So I'm quite excited because I think they're going to be a lot of new things. As you guys know, a lot has happened in the art world, especially since COVID. Like it went just upside down. So I'm really keen to see what is out there, what new figurations are there, what new expressions are there, what artists are really working on. Keen to see that. Keen to see that. And yeah, I want to continue with my question series, which is gaining popularity. I really thank all of you really for the replies. I'm really amazed by the engagement. I think it's so much fun when not only when you ask the question, but when you stimulate people's thinking, people get really into it, and I get really creative responses. I think it's quite good fun. And so this question is following my previous question, which was on the necessity to limit an unlimited space, which is virtual reality and so on. And this question came about certainly through some of the responses, but it came about after I went to see a show at an institution here called Parasite in Hong Kong. There's an institution that support local or regional artists, emerging artists, and I supported that show. They have this incredible program where patrons can donate for a specific cause, and in my case, I donated. I supported health insurance for artists because I realized that as everybody knows, even though the health care system in Hong Kong is pretty good, the public system is pretty good, it has very good coverage, but healthcare overall could be quite expensive, and for an emerging artist, a big bill can send an artist a few years back. So I thought it was a pretty good idea. That was an idea that Parasite supported it a while ago. I thought it was brilliant what they did, not necessarily supporting it just financially, but with a specific cause, which is healthcare. I think for me was key because I decided to join. I have been doing it for about 3 years, and I will continue to do so because I think it's clever. Because I always believe that for artists and creative expressions to flourish, that you need to provide a safe seabed. To let it grow, because the less worries an artist has, the more energy he has to produce into question, which is the question that I have here. So I went to the show and I was talking to Wu Jimaru, apologies if I mispronounce your name, which is one of the artists that benefited from the healthcare, and she did this show when she was questioning AI in itself. It's a role about like a rough relationship between a human and AI, and then the conversation goes into a point where the AI finds the human a bit redundant, and then she's trying to explore questions about fear, about anxieties about AI, and also the necessity to create. And one of her points in that discussion, which I found that extremely clever, was on that question about creation in itself. So religion or multiple religions normally quote that humans are being created to the image of God. And then she's questioning whether we are creating AI to the image of humans, to mirror humans, and why so? Is it because we have a necessity to master because we will eventually fear AI? Or is something more fundamental? I was actually reading Homo Deus recently by I forgot his name, by the Israeli author, which proposes something similar, that humans have that innate capacity to create, and is always very, and has widely covered in films and cinema and books and so on, about humans always toying with the idea of playing God. So she raised these questions, and even for art expressions, I mean, I do question, especially artists that are exploring technology, and especially young artists, which they grew up with technology. Technology is part of them. Whether that dilemma is going just to get amplified, our relationship with technology, or is it going to be symbiotic, or is going to create a conflict? So I don't know. I would like to hear you guys what you think. I personally find that is a question that we need to face, we need to ask, and we need to ask companies that are exploring solutions in AI. I mean, they want to make our life better, but it needs to be ethical. And I think artists are starting to do that. I think artists more than in a creative process, I always, my personal take is that you need to either start with a philosopher or with an artist to ask the unknown questions, to ask the big unknown questions, especially the moral questions. And once you find some sort of like a solution, then you can start giving those solutions into innovators. Yeah, that they take that that abstract idea that is might be more clear, and then eventually they'll try to translate it into a concrete solution. So I don't know. I would like to ask the questions, and I'm actually going to Art Basel looking. I'll be searching for artworks that are expressing those questions, either figurative or abstract questions that are addressing identity, what it means to be yourself, or addressing conflict, or addressing relationship, because I believe that this will be the dominant topics that are to come, because as technology start advancing and dominating more and more, or influencing society more than dominating, influencing, I think is the right word at the moment. I think items about identity, especially, this is something that I sense that is kind of like there, especially with activism, gay rights and so on. There's like the use of pronouns, and I had a discussion yesterday with someone about whether it was appropriate to use neutral nouns and how that means for your own personal identity, even if you are a man or female or gay or so on. Is it appropriate to disassociate you from a pronoun or from an identity? Again, I mean, with all due respect, I'm just trying to throw the question. I'm not necessarily taking a position, or I'm respecting all positions, but I do acknowledge it. But for some people, do feel comfortable being neutral, but some other people feel being their identity being compromised. So yeah, I want to ask those questions about our role with the AI. Is it an issue of faith? Is it an issue of fear? And how all that is going to play into an identity. And I'm really looking forward to see works that are exploring those questions. So yeah, another big question. I don't know. I'm having a lot of fun doing this, I have to say. I really like it. I really enjoy it. I see some people getting very engaged, and I really like that. As I said, I always want to bring, my role in life is to bring critical thinking back. So I really appreciate you guys, all of you, like the people that are responding and sending me message and even jokes and memes and so on. I found it hilarious that the fact that I'm stimulating a thought process, regardless if it's a funny one or a serious one. The fact that I trigger that singular moment for people to act and trigger a thought process. That's for me is what Divide by Zero is all about. So yeah, I mean, happy to hear you guys, and for those in Hong Kong, guys, see you soon at the fair. For those elsewhere, yeah, I mean, send me a text message, and see you soon. Cheers, guys.